what do you think about this design and the basic working of it? Okay, so, um, just think.
Give a fake example. Um, I enjoyed the ease to build. The roller worked quite well. Didn't have too much drag or whatever, causing it to not roll and just skid along the ground, which would have been a problem for rocks and such, though there was a bit of a problem for that. The biggest issue I've had with it so far is that when I go to store it, having the rods in both ends make it difficult to stack or store without taking up a whole lot of room.
How does this design make you think differently about water?
This design makes me feel differently about water, mainly because are we talking about like my experiences with it or like the persons,
Yeah, your
like the
experience.
actual users? Even with like the ease of rolling, it seems like it's easy to take water for granted when I can just fill this thing up so easily, but then have to like just imagine rolling this say all the way down to school, which is not even more than maybe a couple miles, when it's only bringing back like still just a 5-gallon jug of water. So maybe a bit more about conservation of water here. That makes me kind of think about it. Maybe perhaps using say like a drum to use as the roller instead of just the 5-gallon, and the final thing might be a good idea as well, because it'd be about the same way to travel it, because it would be too much harder to roll that thing than rolling the small one. You'd have a lot easier chance not breaking through the plastic.
So how does this design make you think differently about water?
This product's design makes me think a lot differently about water, mainly in the ease of use for people that say aren't as physically fit to be carrying long loads or to speed up the travel time back and forth. Because where it would have taken like I guess hours or a lot of manpower to move not even a whole lot of water just because of the weight. Now you can have even like kids pulling like large vats of water, get the whole family to have one of these, and they can all carry a lot more water with a lot more efficient time usage. I guess eventually creating a overall better quality of life for them all.
Cool.
Okay.
How does this design make you think about time?
This design for me really illustrates how much it would really suck to not have this device. Just imagining carrying like even the exact same amount, say that big container full of water, if you had to carry that just on like foot back and forth to get the same amount of water, so you do 5 trips or whatever, that is going to suck by the end of it. It's going to take so much longer. Eventually the younger kids and stuff like that aren't going to be able to do that just because they don't have the stamina for it, especially in like the heat and everything else is going on. So if you can cut that time in half by allowing it to just kind of like roll, even if it's not so much just the time spent on trip to trip, if you can carry more water with that than you could, you're still going to be saving time on the amount of trips on pretty much everything on the storage and stuff as well. The safety for the user, really, like they don't have to worry about as much about heat stroke or hurting themselves on the way back if they don't have to carry this thing, or possibly even dropping it since it's in a sealed container, kind of rolling along. So then they're also saving time, not having to redo the work that they've already done. Just even on your second or third trip, you're going to be moving a lot slower, but if you can roll it behind you, it's going to be a lot easier.
Yeah. How does this design make you think about your situation in Canada and your access to water?
This device kind of illustrates how important it is to remember how fortunate we are here to have such a huge supply of fresh, clean, easily accessible drinking water. Like, so much so that we just like, we leave the tap running, we kind of take everything that we have really here for granted. Just like throwing bags of ice around and stuff like that. Like, it would just be insane to even just like see ice over there sometimes in a small village or something like that. Yeah, I guess it's really just kind of illustrated how lucky we are to have that amount here. Like, not needing a device like this is fantastic. Just being able to turn on a tap and fill a pool or whatever. It's just like, the way we treat water here is incredibly different. But I think it's important for devices like this to be made here especially, so that we're not just turning a blind eye to the situation over there. We need to kind of really kind of evaluate how much we can really help people over there, seeing as we're in a good condition here and they could use a hand.
Cool.
Go.
So what was the most resourceful use of the design?
Probably the most resourceful use that I've found, there were a couple of them. The long handle and kind of spout going into the tube, and the water jug allowed for me to kind of get it into spots that perhaps it wouldn't be easily just ready to kind of lift the thing up to and kind of hold it. This allowed me to go and hold it on the ground and let me fill up from the water source without too much aiming and having to carry the thing up. I also found that it was easy with the additional bars along the side to hold other things as well as more water. I found you can also put groceries or food or possibly even like a baby basket or something on top of the bars with just even a slight bit of modification. It can become kind of a really multi-purpose tool, allowing you to carry everything you needed there and back. Also the flexibility of the unit itself. I'm not sure if
What was the most efficient experience you had with the design? So.
The most efficient design experience that I've had so far using this device has been the intuitive assembly of the item, from filling to attaching the straps to the arms, to adding extra objects to it. The whole thing was a really simple process without too much guesswork. So that without even seeing it or understanding the concept in the beginning, it was simple. To maybe like 2 minutes to get the full functioning use of the thing kind of out of the design. It's probably the best design experience you can get. Ease of use and a good feeling from using it.
Can you give us a timeline of when, like, a story about when you use this? Just like a make up a story, yeah.
Okay. Story from when I used this?
Yeah, that you thought was most efficient, you know.
Okay. Probably the first time I used the device, went outside, was just kind of messing around with it to begin with. I decided that I wanted to take just some of the water from around the side of the house, around the house, and then back, just to kind of see how the thing would hold up. And it worked quite easily. The only area that I was a little bit concerned that it might have a problem with was over the rocky gravel along the side, and it turned out to work fine. So I could see with even a heavier casing, it would be no problem at all. You could use your product without having to worry about any punctures or anything. So.
Cool. And then, what different way did you try to use the design?
By different, I was trying to think of ways. The main purpose of the thing didn't really attract any different options other than perhaps rolling or pushing. it might make it easier for going up hills or such like that, but that's not really gonna strain from your design. Probably the most odd way of trying to use it was trying to figure a way to either stack or store the jug on its own, which didn't turn out to be very easily done, but I'm sure there could be a quick design solution, even possibly using some of the same bars from the handles flipped over on a side against a wall. I was trying to experiment with possibly creating the bars from the handles and the pulleys to create a storing vertical rack for the water. So I could see if you maybe expanded that with metal bars or something, or even just a higher durability plastic or something like that. You could easily turn what the handle is into a standing free rack to hold multiple jugs.
Cool. Thanks.
No problem. We good now, Adam? Can I go change the other stuff?